is going on, everybody? Happy Wild Card Weekend to you all. How lucky are we that we get to take down our biggest rivals in the biggest game of the year with the highest stakes? Feeling very lucky to be a Ravens fan right now. Feeling very lucky to have you guys hanging out with me on this fine Tuesday evening. We got a loaded show coming up for you guys. First off, we're going to give a little bit of great news on Zay Flowers. Kyle Van Noy had some really positive and optimistic things to say. Give a little bit of an injury update on him. Then we got a Ravens vs. Steelers preview. We've already done two of them. This one's going to be different than both of them. Stick around for it. Then, up third, we got 4 segments for you guys today. Hope you're locked and loaded because third we're talking about are the Ravens, or did they, make some money moves this morning, and what will they do with said money that they've created going into the 2025 offseason? And then coming up last, everybody's favorite time of the week, it is our live Ravens mailbag coming for you right here on Ravens Rundown. It's Lamar Jackson's birthday, everybody's favorite quarterback. I need every single one of you. Get in the comment section down below. Let me know your favorite Lamar memory. It can be from this year, or it can be from anywhere going back to his days in college. Hell, even it could be going back to like that famous Vine years ago when he was in high school, when he just did the little back right before the end zone and then walked in. I think that's one of mine. I think, honestly, if I'm thinking about this year, one of the first things that comes up is that play against was it Cincinnati or was it Cleveland? I think it was Cincinnati. It was Cincinnati. Scrambling out to the right, throws across his body. After he's going out of bounds, Isaiah Likely touchdown catch. You guys let me know yours down below. What's up, Yeecaw? Good to see you, man. Appreciate you complimenting the sweater. It's a Christmas present from my mom. Shout out to her. Thank you so much. Prince is in here saying, what's up? Papa Shook. KVN's a beast. Yes, he is. 619 Cali Factor. Got $5,000 on the Baltimore Ravens winning the Super Bowl. I love it. Michael says the stiff arm touchdown. That's a good one. Fetsprod says the Bengals run. If you know, you know. Nintendo Master said when he stiff-armed a Jaguar. Buddy Bear said the time he was sacked by Max Crosby. That's my favorite Lamar Jackson moment. Buddy Bear, we appreciate your love, but also, come on. Come on, man. Papa Shook saying, love to hear it. Let's go Ravens. Mike Nintendo Master, how's it going, Joey? Mike, I'm going great. Hope you are going well. Coaster Dude says you're muted. No, I'm not. Good try. Mog says, blessed to have been able to see Lamar ball out. Mike also wants to know, how many questions can I ask in the mailbag? Yeah, that's it. It's not going to be a Mike mailbag. Also, if you guys are wondering who I'm talking to, we did it. We hit 25K. And I told you guys, you know what? If we can hit 25K, prove to the bosses, prove to everybody here at Chat Sports that this is a legit channel, that we're crushing it this year, we get a producer. And so for the first time for a Tuesday evening live show, we've got our new producer in the building, Mr. Jack Latteray. Everybody get your Jacks down in the chat below. But Jack, good to see you, first of all. Haven't been with you on a live Ravens show since I believe it was week 4 against the Buffalo Bills.
That might be right. I straight up don't remember. That feels like a year and a half ago. I'm happy to be here, though.
Good.
If I'm going to produce a live show, it better be for a good team.
That's
and the Ravens are a damn good team.
And that's where you're at. It's why you're not producing Raiders right now, because they suck, even though they beat us. We're not going to talk about it. That's why you're here. Everybody say hi to Jack. Appreciate him being here. You know who else I appreciate? Or I guess what else I appreciate? I appreciate the sponsors of today's live stream. Got to give a couple quick shout-outs, starting with our friends over at Game Time. Game Time has an awesome new feature. It's called Game Time Picks. That makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The tool highlights the best deals, including great and amazing deals for the highest value seats at the time. For some events, Game Time Picks also identifies a super deal, which is the best seat value in the venue. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. We also got Prize Picks sponsoring today's live stream, and it's playoff time. It's now or never, so don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks. It's the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Think Lamar Jackson will get more than 250 passing yards next week? What about Jahmyr Gibbs? Will he rush for more than 1.5 touchdowns? Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season on Prize Picks when you and your crew run your game. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Make sure to like the stream if you haven't. We got 69 people hanging out with us. Nice, first of all. We only got 19 likes, though. Let's like it up. When we get to, when we get to 30 likes, we'll go ahead and get started with our first segment of the day. But, I got a goal for today. It's get to 100 likes. I know it's a big goal, but that's what I'm setting. I'm setting big goals in the year 2025. Are you guys with me? If you want to help me achieve mine, like the video, like the stream, and once you liked it, type me in the chat. I can give you a little bit of shout out. Prince Parham, of course he's liked it. Fetz Prods has liked it. He's saying me. 22 likes. We're just a few away from 30. Mike Nintendo says, me and Joey, I know you're a big Ravens fan, but I want to know who's your favorite Ravens player. Good question. I mean, it's got to be Lamar. I mean, I feel like it can't be anybody else. I loved Ed Reed growing up. I loved watching Ed Reed play football. Obviously loved watching Ray Lewis play football as well, but I got to go with Lamar. Man, he's a future Hall of Famer, best quarterback in the league in my opinion. And so thanks for the question, though. Joe says, too many great moments from Lamar to nail down to one. I couldn't agree more. Keep saying me if you've liked the stream. 2 likes away from 30. Who's going to push us over? Also, if you guys want to get on today's show, you can see Papa Shook do it in the chat down below. He said, #Ravens with Pittsburgh reeling. Are they better off starting Justin Fields? Papa, fantastic question. That one will be making it into the mailbag. And if you guys want to also make it in the mailbag with Papa Shook, ask me a question. Use #Ravens in the comment section. That's how our software is able to, see the questions, filter them out, and put them into our software so that way we can put them into graphics and put them up on the screen. So if you want to get on the show, use #Ravens, ask a question, and you have a chance to be on Ravens Rundown. Okay, we hit 32 likes. Jack, I'm ready to roll if you are. Sounds like Jack is getting ready to go. First up on today's show, some great news on Zay Flowers, so stick around. Hear a new injury update for our wide receiver one. Talk a little bit about his status for Saturday night's game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Coming at you live right now. So it sounds like Kyle Van Noy is really optimistic about Zay Flowers' injury status heading into Saturday's game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, okay? We've heard from guys like John Harbaugh. We've heard from guys like Adam Schefter, but now a teammate, a guy in the locker room, speaking out about whether or not he thinks Zay will play on Saturday. And I got to tell you this, sounds like some pretty optimistic and great news for me. Welcome into the show, everybody. Really appreciate you guys being here. We're taking on the Steelers on Saturday night, but we're also taking them on all week long right here on YouTube. We got the gap a little bit shorter. We were down by 15 subs earlier. We're still down 5. It's a week-long sub battle. Hey, help us take down the Steelers because, guys, I'm not going to lie. Talked to Steelers Talk host Jack Sperry, and he did not have the nicest things to say about you guys. You can hear him right now.
You guys all know who your daddies are, man. It is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, you got one against us earlier in the season, but we had no George Pickens. We had multiple defensive stars out. When this team was fully healthy back at Acrisure Stadium, you guys only got 16 points against us. And we all know the 2 instances that Lamar Jackson shrinks the most. Playoffs and Steelers. Guess what you guys got this weekend? I got 20-16 Steelers win.
Yikes. I'm sorry I even made you guys listen to him, even if it was for 30 seconds. But hey, he said it, not me. Let's help us take him down this week by hitting the sub button on today's video, and then we'll get started with today's show. So, Kyle Van Noy speaks out on Zay Flowers' injury status. He has his own podcast called McCoy and Van Noy, and he had some glowing things to say about the second-year wide receiver in regards to his play on Saturday. He said the following: knowing Zay, he's played when he hasn't practiced. He's a tough little sucker, bro. He's going to do everything he can to play. I'm going in expecting to see him. I'm going in knowing I got him in the game. And I think that's all anybody wants to hear right now, okay? We heard what John Harbaugh had to say. We hear that it's day-to-day. We hear that they're going to wait until closer to game time to make a decision. But the fact that you got someone in the locker room stating to the public on his own podcast he's going in expecting to see him, I think all of us have to believe that's optimistic, okay? But the thing is you kind of got to decide whether to believe him or not. So do you believe Kyle Van Noy? If you think he's telling the truth, type Y for yes. If you don't, go ahead, give me an N for no. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's YouTube video. You might get hit with an ad break in just a couple of seconds. When that time comes, don't panic. Go down to the comment section, find this pinned comment, give me a yes or a no. So I don't know if I believe him, but I will say this. It did lift my hopes, because everything that I've talked about this week and everything we've heard this week, in my opinion, has kind of pointed in the direction of him not being on the field on Saturday, especially when we saw the injury. We saw him get helped off. We saw him go to the locker room. We saw all those things, and everything's kind of been pointing to, you're probably going to be without your star wide receiver on Saturday. But Kyle Van Noy speaks today, and again, can't tell you if it's the truth or not, but I can tell you it lifted my hopes. However, there's a guy, you might recognize him. His name's Adam Schefter, and he unfortunately does not have as high of hopes. He said the following: Ravens will see if Zay Flowers can make it back in time for this week's game against the Steelers. Sounds like it could be a little challenging. The good part is it doesn't seem to be a long-term injury. If Baltimore is able to advance, I think he will definitely be back next week, okay? And so Adam Schefter saying probably not Saturday, but definitely back the following week, which I think is great news in itself, okay, right? The last thing we want is if he misses one game to miss two. But where I'm sitting at right now with this whole situation is it's hard to decipher, because you got a guy who has sources like Adam Schefter, but then you also have a guy like Kyle Van Noy who sees Zay Flowers every single day, plays with him every single day. He's in that locker room. He's hearing what Zay has to say. He's hearing how Zay truly feels. So in my opinion, I'm kind of leaning more toward a guy like Kyle Van Noy in this situation. But also Adam Schefter is probably talking to the coaches. He's probably talking to the doctors. He's talking to the guys that are going to make that final decision. But again, Van Noy is in the locker room. Speaking of the locker room, this tweet coming from Kyle Phoenix earlier today says Zay Flowers spotted walking in the locker room with a minor brace on his knee. So I think that's nice, the fact that it's just a minor brace. But regardless of it all, whether he plays or doesn't play, I kind of love the mind games that you are playing on Pittsburgh right now. Because without a doubt, they are preparing this week to take on Zay Flowers. You know how I know that? Because the last time they played Zay Flowers, he caught 5 balls for 100 yards. He had one of the most game-changing plays in that game, a 49-yard bomb to him on the right side of the field. And against Pittsburgh in his career, he's been pretty successful. 4 catches a game, 70 yards a game, 1 total touchdown the 3 times he's played them. Those aren't Hall of Fame numbers, but still 70 yards a game against your biggest rival, who supposedly has one of the better defenses in the NFL. That's nothing to scoff at, okay? So coming up, we got possibly another good sign for Zay Flowers' injury status. I'll talk about that in just a little bit. But before we get into that, I've got to talk about our friends over at Game Time. And I tell you what, guys, this is the best time to take advantage of all this app has to offer, because it's officially playoff time. And I can't tell you that there's nothing quite that can compare to the rush and excitement you feel watching your team win a playoff game, either at home or on the road. And if you want to have that memory for the rest of your life, that is exactly where Game Time can help out. Game Time has an awesome feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The tool highlights the best deals, including great and amazing deals, which is the highest value seats at the time. For some events, Game Time Picks also identifies a super deal, which is the best seat value in the venue. And guys, I've been to countless playoff games in my life, and I remember every single one of them. This time of the year is truly a time that you never forget. If you love your football team, if you love the Baltimore Ravens, heck, if you even love another team better than the Ravens, you want to go see their playoff games, take advantage of what we're offering you right now and go to Game Time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. So what I'm talking about is this picture that Zay Flowers uploaded to his Instagram story just yesterday. Okay, and I know it's a little silly. We're talking about a guy cutting his dreads, and we're looking at it as kind of as analytically as we can. But what does this mean? Does this mean something like new beginnings? Does this mean something that's trending in the direction to where he might be feeling good? Who's to say? But if you want Flowers back, there's a way you can say it to me. You can like the video, okay? I did this just the other day. I didn't get quite as many likes as I thought I would. Turns out not a lot of people really want to be back. So if you truly want Zay Flowers back in a Baltimore Ravens uniform this upcoming Saturday, do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button. Now, I don't want to get too lost in that picture because, then again, at the end of the day, it's just a picture of a guy who just cut his dreadlocks off. But I kind of do think it's positive. I don't know why I feel that way, but it just feels like he's like, you know what? Shedding some old skin. Shedding something new. Getting rid of something that's old, facing on to the future and saying, you know what? All of that's behind me. I'm looking at what's forward. I'm looking at what's next. Now, what we hope is next is the game on Saturday against Pittsburgh, but who's to say? But you also might remember he's not the only player to cut his dreads so far this year. Derrick Henry did it just a few weeks ago. And since then, he's been on an absolute tear, okay? I've been talking about this for just a little bit, but I got to ask you guys, does this mean something? What do you think? If you think it means something, give me an S down below. And if you think it means nothing, go ahead, give me a 0. Zilch, nada, nothing. Let me know in the comment section. And I'll say this. When I look at everything that's going on with this team, whether the Zay Flowers injury news is positive or not, I am a little bit worried about what I feel like are the outside distractions. Okay, number one, the Zay Flowers injury. I think that's just taking a lot of manpower, a lot of mind, a lot of effort, kind of, I don't want to say off the team itself, but I just hate the fact that that had to happen and they can't just move forward from it. That has to be something they focus on. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, Todd Monken. He's been requested to interview for 2 different jobs. One of them Chicago, one of them Jacksonville. Now again, it's not a guarantee if he takes any of those interviews, and he hasn't said if he will or not yet. But still, I think if you're on this offense and you're on this team and you see your offensive coordinator, people are wanting to request him to interview for their job. In my opinion, I think that might distract you a little bit. And then also the whole Lamar Jackson MVP talk. And I get it. A lot of times it's people in my industry. It's the me's of the world that are the ones talking about this. And I'm not going to lie. I've talked about it in the last week or so. But I just hate that all 3 of these things are culminating together. And I don't want to say are bogging down this team, but they're weighing on this offense. The week before you play Pittsburgh. The week before the first round of the playoffs. Okay, so I'm not hitting the panic button on any of these. I'm not saying because the Zay Flower injury news and Todd Monken's interview request and Lamar Jackson's MVP race, that's not making me panic about this upcoming weekend. But I will say I do wish these things weren't happening at the moment. But because they are, this all just kind of proves to me you got to go with 22 as much as you can on Saturday night. The good thing is, the last time you did that against Pittsburgh, worked out pretty well for you. 24 carries, 162 yards, 6.8 yards a carry. He also had 7 rushes of 10 yards or more. Highest in an NFL game in the 2024 NFL season. Okay, so with everything going on around you, whether it's Zay Flowers, Todd Monken, Lamar's MVP race, it all just needs to go away. And you need to get back to what this team's identity has been all season long. And I know Lamar's been great, but there's a reason he has 1,900 rushing yards, because you've been giving him the rock, okay? Appreciate you guys tuning in today. If you haven't already, hit that sub button. Again, we're trying to take down our Steelers Talk channel because we're trying to take them down this weekend. So if you haven't already, do me a favor. Hit that sub button. So do you guys believe Kyle Van Noy? Let me know down below. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. 101 of you guys are in here right now. 46 likes. Keep on liking it. But y'all let me know. Do you believe Kyle Van Noy? I want to. But I also just know there's a good chance he might be saying things, A, to mess with the Steelers, or B, to just kind of, I don't know, instill some kind of confidence in the fan base, maybe in Zay himself. I don't know. We got Prince saying yes and nah. Interesting. John says yes, he believes in him. Okay. Denard also says, I think the Ravens will be fully focused on beating Pittsburgh this weekend. I do too, Denard. That's why I'm not hitting the panic button on this whole thing. However, I do just wish it wasn't happening. Okay? I do just wish it wasn't happening. We got a $5 super chat from my man Corday Fire, newest member, one of the newer members of the bank, our Hall of Fame club right here at Chat Sports, at Ravens Rundown. Said, I got 5 for Saturday. Let's win this game. Corday, I could not agree more. Super thankful for you for donating to the channel. Appreciate the support you show us, support you show me, support you show the Baltimore Ravens. Can't wait for that game. Again, we'll be live on Saturday. I'll be live about an hour and a half before kickoff. We're doing a really long pregame show. Got to get everything out there and talked about before this game kicks off. And again, if you guys want to get on today's show, like Corday Fire just did, you could do 2 things. One, you could super chat your questions to me. That guarantees they get on our mailbag segment. Even if it's just a $1, $2 super chat. Anything, any kind of donation to the channel guarantees your spot in the mailbag. Number 2, you could use hashtag Ravens in the chat. Ask me any question about the Baltimore Ravens. And we've got 3 so far. Thank you, Jack. Jack says we got 3 questions so far. I need probably, what, 2 or 3 more? 2, 3, 4, 5? I don't know. Just get your questions in. Jack will pick the best ones. And I'll answer them on the stream. So if you got any kind of pressing questions, let me know down below by using hashtag Ravens. Have to have hashtag Ravens in the comment itself, so that way we can use it. All right, coming up next, we got a Ravens-Steelers preview for you Saturday. Can't wait for it, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a blast. That's coming up right now on Ravens Rundown. What is going on, everybody? Oh, my goodness. We've been waiting all week long. It is finally here. We got Ravens. We got Steelers kicking off in just a little bit. Right now, the over-under is 43.5 points. Ravens are 9.5-point favorites, which, not going to lie, guys, that's a little surprising for just kind of rivalry that this game is. But, hey, I'll take it. Regardless, we're breaking it down on today's show. Keys to victory, a little bit of injury updates. So you guys hang out, stick around. And if you hate the Steelers, do me a favor. Prove you hate them. Go ahead and spam FPIT in the comment section down below. Let's do it, 34 times? That's how many points you put on them last time you played them. Give me your FPITs in the comment section down below, and we'll get into today's show. Start with a little bit of injury update with our man Dante Jackson. Jackson was one of the guys that did not play the last time these two teams faced off. He is questionable with a back injury, has been injured since their game against the Eagles. Time will tell if he plays tonight or not. Next up, Mason McCormick. He has a broken hand, but apparently it feels good, okay? One of their offensive linemen, one of their better offensive linemen, they struggled on the offensive line all season long, so he's going to be a game-time decision as well. And that's the interesting thing when I look at this matchup, is the last time these two teams faced off in Week 16, I'm not going to lie to you guys, the injury bug was pretty heavy in Pittsburgh. George Pickens was out. Joey Porter Jr. didn't play after the first series or two. Dante Jackson was out. Deshaun Elliott. Those final three people, those are all in their secondary. TJ Watt played, but he wasn't near 100%. Okay, so I know you beat him by 17 the last time you played him. I know you put 34 on them the last time you played him. But this is going to be a different defense than you saw in Week 16. So how do you beat them? Thank you so much for asking. We're going to go into my keys of victory. Joey P's keys to victory, as I like to say. Number one, you got to win the turnover battle, okay? And when you look back at the last 4 times this team has lost a playoff game, 2023, 2022, 2020, and 2019, every single one of them, they've had a turnover. 3 of them, they've had more than 1. 2 of those, they've had 3, okay? Last year against Kansas City, 3 total turnovers, 2 interceptions, and a strip sack, okay? And so that, to me, is kind of the number one thing I'm looking for. Can you hold on to the ball? Can you keep it to only your guys? And when you looked at the last time you played them, Week 16, you won that turnover battle. However, you fumbled the ball 3 times, you recovered all 3. So did you really win that turnover battle? And then you go back forward, or I guess backward to Week 11, you lost the turnover battle. 3 turnovers to 1 turnover. Okay, so I am keying in on this team taking care of the football. And to me, in my opinion, guys, I think it's simple. You win if you don't turn it over. I think this team is too good. I think this defense is playing too soundly. I think that this offense is running too hot right now. That if you have 0 turnovers, I don't think you lose this game. So it's simple. Keep it to the guys in purple, and I think you move on to the next round, okay? The line is set by myself. 1.5 turnovers for Baltimore. Are they going over that, or are they going under that? If you think it's over, give me an over. If you think it's under, type under in the comment section. This is the pinned comment on today's YouTube video. You're about to get hit with an ad break in just a little bit. Scroll down in the comment section when that comes. Find the pinned comment. Give me an over or an under. Number 2, easy. Establish the run. And I know you guys are getting sick of hearing me talk about this in these preview videos because establish a run or keep Derrick Henry hot has been in every single one of these, but there's a reason. It's because when it happens, you win the football game. What happened Week 16? 24 carries, 162 yards, 6.8 yards a carry, 7 rushes of 10 yards or more. What'd you do? You won the football game, okay? The only thing is I know he did that against Pittsburgh last time, but still, at the bare bones of it, this is a good defense. 98.7 rush yards per game, 6th best in the NFL. 4.1 rush yards per play, tied for 4th. Stacked box, they run at 23.5% of the time. That is 8th best in the NFL. So I know Derrick Henry just had a day against Pittsburgh. And I know Derrick Henry has had 3 straight games of over 120 yards rushing. But still, at the end of the day, you kind of got to look at this team that Pittsburgh has, and you got to say they're good. Okay, let's talk about a little bit about that stack box because they run it 23.5% of the time. So what is a stack box? Well, it's when there's 8 or more defenders in the box. That little kind of red line around that front 7. Okay, when that front 7 turns into a front 8, that's what they like to call stack box. Basically, how many times is your defense selling out against the run? Well, in Week 16, when Derrick Henry last played the Pittsburgh Steelers, he faced a stack box 33.3% of the time. That was up 10% than what Pittsburgh usually does. He's faced it 33.2% of the time this season. Is the most in the National Football League. Okay, so you got to think they're going to be selling out to stop it. That's why it's so crucial to establish it early. And this is exactly what you didn't do the last time you were in the playoffs, okay? The AFC Championship game against Kansas City. It was a rainy day. Kansas City had one of the worst rushing defenses in the league. And yet this is the biggest stain on Todd Monken's career, in my opinion, because you went early down, running back run, only 3 times. Your pass percentage on early downs was 69% of the time. almost 70 in a game that was tight the entire way. You only had 16 rush attempts in an entire game. So that's exactly what you can't do. So I'm begging you, Todd Monken, if you're watching this, I'd first tell you, put it down, watch some film, get ready for the game tonight. But then I'd also tell you, please, run the football. There's a reason you paid Derrick Henry this offseason, and that's to hand him the rock, okay? A little bit of a programming reminder for you all. We will be live for Ravens vs. Steelers, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. So come hang out with us on the channel. It's going to be a blast. We're going to do about an hour and a half of pregame. We're going to be live for the entire game itself. So join us. Make sure you join us. Hit that subscribe button. Number 3, you got to hit them early, okay? You got to take advantage of this team and their lack of ability to put up points in the first quarter. I got more to talk about on that subject, but before we do, got to talk about our friends over at PrizePicks. Guys, it is the most exciting and also the easiest way to play daily fantasy sports. And right now, it is playoff time, and it's now or never. So don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with PrizePicks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on PrizePicks. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win or see the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections of 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Think Lamar Jackson will get more than 250 passing yards next week? What up, Patrick Mahomes? Will he pass for more than 1.5 touchdowns? Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season when you and your crew run your game on PrizePicks. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about PrizePicks promotions that sometimes they're out there. It was New Year's Day. I was hanging out with my wife. We opened the PrizePicks app and we saw, bang, promotion, $25 of free play. So, of course, we took advantage of it, and that's exactly what PrizePicks does. They reward you, the user, time and time again. So if you want to check out our friends at PrizePicks, you can download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks. Get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need a win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. Next up, like I talked about earlier, you got to hit this team early, okay? And there is damning evidence on this Pittsburgh Steelers team not being able to score in the first quarter. They've only had 3 first-quarter touchdowns this entire 18-game regular season. They've had no games with more than 7 points in the first quarter. They've only had 2 first half with at least 14 points. And they've 9 times have scored 14-plus in the second half. Okay? So it's obvious. This is a team that cannot put the ball in the end zone early. And if you want to know how bad their offense was this past Saturday against Cincinnati, well, just look at this. It was the first time in 10 years that the Bengals held an opponent to under 200 yards. 10 years. Oh, my goodness. And it was the first time since 1988 that the Bengals held the Steelers under 200 yards. Those two teams play 2 times a year. Since 1988, they hadn't held them under 200 yards, and they just did it, okay? And they've had a lot of trouble over the past 4 games. 13 points against the Eagles, 17 points against the Ravens, 10 points against the Chiefs, and then 17 points against the Bengals. I'm not even going to try to do the math on that because it's too many numbers and I got too little of time, but I'm assuming it's somewhere around 13.5 points per game. Don't quote me on that, but a big reason is because they've got an offensive coordinator that he just seems so set in his ways. And it's shocking that Arthur Smith is as young as he is. Because usually when you've got a coordinator that just won't move off of what he believes should happen with a football team with a game plan, it's an old guy. But Arthur Smith is young. And still he refuses to go away from his run-first approach, even though that has proven time and time again to be a hindrance to this team. Because Najee Harris is good. Jaylen Warren is good. But at the end of the day, like, do they have the horses in the stables to be a run-first team? Their offensive line struggles. And so it's like, Arthur, what are you doing? I'm not asking that question. I'm asking Arthur, do it again, please. If you guys want Arthur to do it again, if you want to be with me while we watch Arthur do it again, then go ahead, hit that subscribe button for daily Ravens videos, breaking news coverage, watch parties every single week, live shows every single Tuesday. The best part about it, it's all 100% free. So join the 25,000 plus of the flock that we've got with us right here on Ravens Rundown. To wrap up these keys to victory, this one's simple. Just don't get caught up in the moment, okay? It's a simple thing to say. It is not a simple thing to do. Because when you look at the times that these two teams have played each other, Baltimore struggled. 2002, 2009, 2011, all losses to Pittsburgh, in Pittsburgh. 2015, you beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. I'll also note, first time you're playing them at home in the playoffs, okay? But still, you've played them 4 times. You've lost 3 of those games. This is your biggest rival. This is a team that Lamar Jackson historically has struggled against. This is a team that John Harbaugh historically has struggled against. This is a team that this team in the last 5 years historically has struggled against. So don't get caught up in the moment. Be who you are. Play the type of football you know how to play. Go out, win this game because I believe you're the better team. Okay? Do it now for me. Predict the score of today's game in the comment section down below because I'm about to hit you with my prediction, but I want to see yours real quick before. So I think it is going to be a low-scoring affair. I do. It's going to be a cold day. I think it's a classic AFC North gritty football game. I got the Ravens winning 24-20. Again, it's close. Give me Baltimore. I'm so excited, man. Been thinking about it all week long. We're finally here. Come join me later today and hit that sub button. Do it for me in the comment section down below. Predict it. We got Papa Shook 37-10. Big score deficit right there. He's calling a big blowout. I like it, Papa. Follower of Christ 365 says 28-17. A little bit closer to kind of like what mine was. A little bit closer. Also, just a reminder, everybody, if you could do me a favor and like today's video, that would be a massive help. I see Adam Roars is in the chat. Adam, what's going on, man? Hey, I am actually staring at your son's jersey right now. We haven't shipped it out yet, but we've got it, and it's going to be shipped out as soon as possible. But we got it here. We got it ready to get shipped out, so you guys should be getting it very soon. Said, Ty, man, got to get that Bucks win Friday, then a Ravens win Saturday. That's a good weekend, brother. Ty, man, I'm in a weird spot because I'm like, do I want Ohio State to keep winning? Does that make Tennessee look better? Or do I want them to lose because they kicked Tennessee's ass so bad? I'm in a weird little conundrum. But I also don't really like Texas. And so, you know what? It's an interesting place where I'm sitting right now. If you guys want to get on today's show, do me a favor. Use hashtag Ravens. Ask me a question down below in the chat, or you could super chat to get on today's show. That'll guarantee your spot in the mailbag section. In just a couple of segments, I'll be answering your questions live right here. So if you want a chance to get on the show, have your name, face, picture, all that thing pop up on your favorite YouTube show, use hashtag Ravens, and you got a chance to get on it. Again, go ahead, like the video. I really appreciate you guys being here. Give it that thumbs up and tell YouTube, tell the algorithm, you know what? People are enjoying this. And if YouTube thinks that, it's going to push this video out to more Ravens fans. They'll be able to join us more on our Tuesday live shows. The audience grows. The family grows. All that and more. So, like today's video. Hit that thumbs up button. Appreciate the support. Alrighty. Coming up next, Ravens made some money moves. What were they? I'm talking about it very soon, and then we're going to talk about what that might mean for the offseason. So stick around. Segment number 3 coming at you right now. On today's show, we're talking about some money moves that were made just yesterday by the Baltimore Ravens. Has to do with Marcus Williams, his contract. And then the second half of the show, on the back half, we're going to take a little bit of a look at what that means for this offseason and for 2025 NFL free agency. I got a little bit of a challenge for y'all. Need you to help us out, just for the fun of it. Steelers now just got 414 likes on a video. Can we beat it? They're even called Steelers Talk, but I hate them so much, I just call them Steelers now. So if you want to disrespect them even more, go ahead, like the video, try to beat that 414. Let's put them in the ground. Let's get 500. So, just yesterday, Baltimore and Marcus Williams agreed on a revised contract that will allow them to use a post-June 1st designation on him. That just means they're going to cut him after June 1st, and they're going to get some money back. So let's look a little bit deeper onto what this actually means, okay? His initial deal was 5 years, $70 million. And again, I'll talk about this in just a little bit. Eric DeCosta has done a lot of great things. That's not one of them, okay? So this new deal, they reduced it from $12 million a year to $2 million a year. If you ever want to know how to take a $10 million pay cut, go suck ass on a football field for 14 weeks, and that'll do it for you. What that created for Baltimore was $9.9 million in cap space eligible right now. And then, after you cut him, after 6-1, you get $2.1 million in cap space. So, total together, it's like what? Quick math, $12 million in cap space you created just by restructuring and then cutting this guy you weren't even playing anyway. There will be some dead money, $6.7 million approximately in dead money for the years of 2025 and 2026, because those are both the years he was supposed to be on this roster. But again, if he's not on it, that's a net positive in my opinion. Again, that first contract was bad. It was one of the worst moves I think Eric DeCosta has made as the Baltimore Ravens general manager. One of them going up there might be the Deontay Johnson trade, but again, you didn't give up that much. You wasted a lot of money over these past 3 years on a guy like Marcus Williams, especially this year. But I will say this, restructuring, opening up more cap space, and then getting them off this team in the future anyway, great save, okay? Wipe your hands clean of it, move on, admit that you were wrong, and let's try to get some money back when we can, okay? So grade the move from Eric DeCosta to create $10 million in cap space right now, just from restructuring Marcus Williams' contract. Grade it for me in the comment section down below, A, B, C, D, or F. You might get hit with a YouTube ad break coming up in just a little bit. Don't panic. Take advantage of that time. Scroll down the comment section, find this pinned comment, and give me your grade. So why did he get a $10 million pay cut, you may be asking? And I don't think you actually are. That was just more for rhetorical purposes, because everybody knows he was one of the worst players, not just on this defense, but on this team. His overall PFF grade was a 42.9. It's 160th out of 170 strong safeties. Pass rush, 55.1. Good job. You cracked the top 100. That's awesome, Marcus. Let's get you $12 million. His run defense was 69.4, 63rd out of 170. His best statistic was his run defense. Shield your eyes. Make sure your wives and children are out of the room, because he had a coverage grade of 37.3, 161st of 170 safeties. So you're telling me, of those three statistics, the one that you would want to be the best, being his coverage grade, is easily his worst. And we talked about this a lot in the beginning of the season, especially right up to the trade deadline. We wanted them to make a move. They didn't in the safety when it comes to trading for him, but we just knew that what he was doing wasn't good enough. And that's kind of why he's been a healthy scratch since about week 11, week 12. But this team made a jump when they replaced him. And I think that's kind of goes into this contract situation as well. Because it's not like you just replaced him and then things just got a little bit better. Guys, since you've replaced him with Ardarius Washington, things have skyrocketed. If you look at this defensive stat from weeks 1 through 10, compared to the last 6 weeks that this team has been playing, it doesn't even compare. Just look at the rankings. 25th, 27th, 32nd, 30th, 32nd, and then first, second, 11th. Okay? And again, I'm not saying this was all Marcus Williams' fault, but when you stopped playing him and you moved Ardarius Washington to his position and you put Kyle Hamilton solely in that free safety spot, things have changed, okay? And so the fact that you not only get to cut him from your roster, but get back around $11 or $12 million in space, I think that is a massive win. But what does that money mean for Baltimore? What will that mean this upcoming offseason? What will that mean this upcoming free agency period? I got more on that in just a little bit. Make sure you guys hang around for it. Before we get into any of that, I got to talk about our sponsor, and that is our friends over at Game Time. It is the best place for the best prices, the lowest prices, best seats, and it's all guaranteed right at Game Time. Today's show is sponsored by it, so the new year brings a lot of great things. Brings food, celebration, friends, family, but most importantly, it brings playoffs, guys. And there's nothing that can quite compare to the rush and excitement you feel watching your team in a playoff game, either at home or on the road. And if you want to have that memory for the rest of your life, that's exactly where Game Time can help out. Game Time has an awesome new feature. It's called Game Time Picks, and that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. The tool highlights the best deals, including great and amazing deals for the highest value seats at the time. For some events, Game Time Picks identifies a super deal, which is the best seat value in the venue. And guys, Game Time, it's the only ticketing app that I have in my phone, and that's just because it's so dang easy. My favorite part is the last-minute tickets and flash deals. I liken myself to be somewhat of a procrastinator from time to time, and a lot of times, you know what? I'll say to my wife, let's go do something. Let's go to a game. Let's go to a comedy show, a theater production, and then I'll just wait to buy tickets. And with other apps, that kind of bites you in the butt, but with Game Time, you get the last-minute tickets and flash deals. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. So coming up in the year of 2025, the Ravens have quite a bit of pretty important free agents, to put it lightly. Okay, Ronnie Stanley will be an unrestricted free agent. Patrick Ricard, Nelson Aguilar. Then Ardarius Washington will be a restricted free agent. Also Malik Harrison, Tylan Wallace, a ton of other guys in that category, okay? And so they, in my opinion, this is kind of useful money for that, right? This is exactly what you do a deal like that for, is to lock down one of those guys, to keep them on your roster. Because if this team makes a deep run, then I have a feeling this front office is just going to say, hell, let's just run it back again, okay? Let's just run it back again. Speaking of running it back again, we'll be running it back our watch parties this upcoming weekend against Pittsburgh. Our last one was a massive success, 88,686 views. Currently on the channel, we're sitting at 25,425 total subs. Thank you so much for every single one of you that have subscribed to the channel so far this season. It's been a season of massive growth. And if you haven't already, look at all the numbers that we're doing. Come join the family by hitting that sub button. And so you take a look at these free agents, right? You see Ronnie, Patrick, Nelson, Ardarius. If I had to pick two that were the most important to keep on this roster, in my opinion, I think it's Ronnie Stanley, and I think it's Ardarius Washington. Okay, let's talk about both for a second. Ronnie Stanley, I think that there's a reason you paid him as much money as you did in the first part of his contract just a few years ago. But he just did a year where he was, cross your fingers, fully healthy. Not only that, but he was dominant. And he proved that he is a cornerstone right there at left tackle, which every Hall of Fame quarterback needs their Hall of Fame left tackle. And I'm not saying Ronnie Stanley's going into the Hall of Fame. I'm just saying he gave you a year of full health, and he gave you a year of absolute domination. Okay, let's talk about number two on that list, Ardarius Washington. We talked about it just a little bit ago. I don't want to put the entire defensive turnaround just on the back of him. But let's just talk about the big plays that he's made in big-time situations. Week 16, Pittsburgh again. Russell Wilson scrambles, breaks out of the pocket. Gain of 20, 25, gets down to the 5-yard line. Guess who causes the fumble? Ardarius Washington. Game against the Texans, Christmas Day. You're up. It's 10-2. They are a touchdown away, and an extra point for tying that ball game. They go for it on 4th and goal. Guess who hits Joe Mixon out of bounds? Turnover on downs. That game's over right then and there. He makes big plays every single time he's out on the field. He's the hardest hitting safety in the league. Not to quote the Madden clip in the video that everybody loves. He's the hottest hitting safety in the league. But it's true. That's what we've got right here in our Darius Washington. But it's not just Ravens players that are going to be free agents. Also, everybody in the NFL. They have to deal with free agency as well. And here are some of my favorite realistic free agents, okay? Because you're going to have a guy like Trey Smith out there, okay? He's going to be a free agent. T. Higgins, he's going to be a free agent. Would I love those guys? Sure. But with the money that you're already guaranteeing to some of your other assets, you just don't have the money to get those guys. So I think Chris Godwin, I think he's very realistic to get. DJ Reed, Dre Greenlaw, he might be a little more expensive than I like, but still, love what he does at linebacker. Him paired with Roquan Smith, they'd be unreal. Khalil Mack, old, but you've seen the production you've gotten out of a guy like Kyle Van Noy, guys you've gotten out in the past like Jadeveon Clowney. I think he could fit perfectly with this defense. And then Amari Cooper, again, a veteran guy, veteran wide receiver, but still one of the better route runners in the game. So of those 5, most realistic in my opinion, Chris Godwin and Khalil Mack. Chris Godwin's only 28 years old. He's still got some tread on the tires. Sure, he's going to be coming off of a season where he dealt with an injury, but still. Nelson Aguilar's a free agent. He might not be in this wide receiver room. I don't want to necessarily just run it back with only Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers. Give me Chris Godwin. Put in that wide receiver room. I really like the way that looks, okay? Khalil Mack. I said it already. Kyle Van Noy. He had 11.5 sacks on this year. 11.5. And he's older than Khalil Mack is, okay? Jadeveon Clowney had the best year in his career last year with Baltimore. This team is known for taking older edge rushers, older defensive talent, and doing things with them that nobody really in their careers has been able to do with them. I think Khalil Mack could be that next step. Well, let's talk about our guys again, okay? Pick one. Or Darius Washington or Ronnie Stanley. If you want Ronnie Stanley to come back next year, give me an RS. If you want Darius Washington, give me an AW. I think they both could be back, but you let me know which of the two you're going to pick. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Really appreciate it. It's been an awesome week. So excited for this week. And make sure you guys do me a favor. Hit that like button. Let's take down the Steelers. So pick one, guys. Pick one for me. We got Anchovy in the chat. We've got Papa Shook. Adam Roars. A lot of AWs. Not surprised. He's had an awesome season so far. He's been fantastic for this team, fantastic for this organization. Those don't surprise me at all. I mean, it's been only AWs. Any RSs? Big P. Not going to read that second P, my friend. Big P is saying AW. Moggs says Nick Chubb and Tyreek. Moggs, I hear what you're saying about Tyreek. However, I fear you'd have to trade for him. He's too expensive. I don't want to mess with this locker room. They love each other, man. They're vibing. Adam wants Godwin. I would love Godwin as well. I really would. Moggs, also Nick Chubb. He's just coming off of back-to-back years with like season-ending injuries. And you know what? You got Derrick Henry. You signed Justice Hill to an extension earlier this offseason. I don't think you need Nick Chubb. Mark Glacken. He's saying RS. First one. I like it, Mark. I love it. All righty. We have 74 likes, 60 people watching. If you guys want to get on the show, this is your last chance. We're about to run into our mailbag segment. If you got a question for me, want to see your name, your picture pop up on today's program, use hashtag Ravens or Super Chat. If you Super Chat, it guarantees your question to be on the show, even if it's $1 Super Chat, $2, whatever it is. If you got a question you want me to answer, go ahead, ask it in the question or in the comment section down below using hashtag Ravens. Jack, how many questions do we have? Yes. Okay. I think that's good enough to roll. Yeah, that's good. Cool. All righty. Well, if you guys still have good questions you want to ask me, feel free to keep getting them in. If they're really good, we'll get them on the show. But without further ado, let's get into this. We're going to go about, 10 to 12 minutes on this. Stay tuned, answering your questions live right here on Ravens Rundown. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the show. You're watching Ravens Rundown. I'm your host, Joey Petersen. Every question I'm going to answer on today's show was a question asked in our Tuesday live shows. We go live every single Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So for the next one, come join us. It's an absolute blast. And I'll let you guys know when we're going live on my social media. So follow me, Twitter, Instagram. You can find me, same handles for both Joey Petersen 8 and Joey Petersen 8. Make sure you're spelling Petersen right. It's with an E. Very important if you want to find me. Follow me there. I tweet about the Ravens every single day. And you know what? First 5 people to follow me, I'll give you a shout out on Saturday's live stream against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Alrighty, let's get into it. The first one coming from Carlos Zeladon. Carlos saying, #Ravens, I think OBJ is a good sign. Was thinking about yesterday's vid and realized that obviously OBJ can't be the main target when you're next to a guy like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. All right, Carlos, I agree. And at the point that I'm answering this in current time, it is Tuesday, 4:57. We've still got about 24 hours until the rosters freeze over. When this video comes out, the rosters will already have freezed, and OBJ will either be a Baltimore Raven or not. My opinion is that he won't be. But I agree. I think he would be a good sign, especially if you don't have a guy like Zay Flowers playing on Saturday, right? He's already been on this team. He's played for this offensive coordinator. He's played for this head coach. He's played with this quarterback. He's been in this locker room. He's been in this wide receiver room. Like, all these things kind of point to it being almost a seamless transition. And so if he does get signed, I'd love it. And if he doesn't, it's kind of like, oh, okay. I don't think you're missing out on that much. But I wouldn't hate it for a depth reason. Coming up next, we got Chipper. Handsome looking lad right there. Said, do the Ravens lose any big pieces this offseason? Great question. We talked about this on a video earlier this week, actually, Chip. And so there's a lot of really good Ravens players set to be free agents. Ronnie Stanley, Patrick Ricard, Nelson Aguilar, Ardarius Washington. Some others onto that, Malik Harrison, Chris Board, Brent Urban. But these are kind of the 5 main ones, in my opinion. You don't have that much in cap space, because even though you did a lot with Marcus Williams' contract, you still don't have that much in cap space because you're paying a lot of people a lot of money. And I think they're going to be saving up to possibly pay a guy like Kyle Hamilton a lot of money as well. Okay? And so you got a lot of assets. And that's just kind of what happens when you're a good team. And so I do think it's possible for this team to lose a couple of guys to free agency. Hell, you saw it last year with Patrick Queen. I don't think any of us wanted Patrick Queen to leave this team. You saw it last year with Zeitler, with Moses, right? And so I think this is just what happens. When you're a good team, you pay a lot of money to good players. That doesn't mean you have, and that means you don't have a lot of money to pay a ton of other people, okay? So name them for me in the comment section down below. Who is a free agent the Ravens lose in the year 2025? Call it for me. Call them out. You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. When that time comes, don't panic. Don't freak out. Go to the comment section, find this pinned comment, and reply with your answer. Next one, coming up from Michael Stab. #Ravens, do you think the Ravens will stick with their identity and keep pounding the ball with Henry? Michael, I do. Multiple reasons. Number one, we don't know if Zay Flowers is going to play or not. So that takes away your number one pass catcher. And so, obviously, up next, your thought is going to be, okay, give the best running back in the league the ball. Also, Saturday's game, as of right now, the weather sits at 32 degrees for the high, 22 degrees for the low. So it is going to be literally, as science states, freezing. Cold weather, what does that mean? Oftentimes, you hand the ball off. Also, last time Henry played Pittsburgh, he was dominant. He had 7 rushes of 10 yards or more, most by a running back in the NFL in 2024. Okay, across the entire league. And so I do think the Ravens will stick with keep pounding the rock. He's had over 120 yards in each of his last 3 games. I don't think that changes. Great question. Coming up next, Mike Nintendo Master. Mike, what's up, man? Great question. Says, if Zay is not able to go, who needs to step up to get the win? I talked about this a little bit earlier this week, but I got 3 guys. Okay, and shout out producer Jack. That took him 0.2 seconds. Rashad Bateman, Isaiah Likely, and Justice Hill. Okay, Rashad Bateman's been a phenomenal wide receiver 2 all season long. But being a wide receiver 1 is very different. You're getting the attention of their best corner. You're getting the attention of their defensive coordinator. You're getting the attention of everybody on that defense, okay? Can he do it? I think he can, but it's going to be a big jump, okay? Let's talk about Isaiah Likely next. Flashed onto the scene earlier this season. Game against Kansas City. Right? Was his toe in? Was it out? We all remember that. But since then, I don't think he's had really as dominant of a performance. Multiple reasons for that. You can only get so many yards in a football game when you got a guy like Lamar Jackson running the ball, you got a guy like Derrick Henry running the ball, you got Zay Flowers, you got Mark Andrews. And ever since Mark Andrews kind of had a lot better of a season after that week 4, Isaiah Likely's kind of fallen back a little bit into the shadows, okay? And so I'm not saying he's going to step up and be a wide receiver 1, but I'd love to see him get 5 catches, 50 yards. I would love that out of Likely. And then Justice Hill. He has as many catches, or close to as many catches, as Nelson Aguilar does this year, out of the backfield. He is a pass-catching running back. That's his go-to. That's his forte. I need him to step up. I need him to be another pass-catching option for Lamar Jackson this upcoming weekend against Pittsburgh. If you guys want to make this weekend a little bit more fun, sweeten the deal a little bit, if you will, you could go over. Use our friends over at Prize Picks because it's playoff time. It's the most exciting time of the year, and it's now or never. So don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. You can have up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. Sign up today, get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need a win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Think Lamar Jackson will get more than 250 passing yards next week? Well, Patrick Mahomes passed for only 1.5 passing touchdowns. Cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. Take a look at my Prize Picks going into tomorrow's matchup. I got the more on Derrick Henry rush yards, 100.5, and I've got the less on pass yards for both Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson. All that's to say, it's going to be cold, it's going to be freezing. I think they run the football a lot, both sides of the ball. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need a win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Next one coming up from It's Red Eye. Hashtag Ravens, do you think Tylan Wallace or Nelson Aguilar would take the wide receiver 2 spot if Bateman takes the number 1 receiver spot for the Steelers game? Okay, so I'm going to answer this in 2 ways. It's Red Eye. I think they don't take the pass catcher 2 spot. I think that spot is going to be taken up by Mark Andrews. I think Rashad Bateman goes to 1, Mark Andrews goes to 2. Hell, Mark Andrews might even go to 1 and Rashad Bateman stay to 2. But if you're just talking wide receivers, I think it's going to be Nelson Aguilar, okay? I know we've all seen flashes from Tylan Wallace, and I kind of would prefer to get the ball in Wallace's hands over Aguilar's. But at the end of the day, there's a reason that a guy like Nelson Aguilar has more targets this season than Tylan Wallace does, okay? So I do think Nelson Aguilar will fill that wide receiver 2 role. I would love to see Tylan Wallace fill in that wide receiver 3 role, getting the action as well. Next up, Attended Squad. Hashtag Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Way to get the full name in there, Attended Squad. Do you think the Ravens beat the Chiefs this year? Ooh, I sure as hell hope so. I would love, and I know this might be like knocking on the Grim Reaper's door, but I would love to play KC in the playoffs. I would. Because obviously they're a fantastic team. They've won back-to-back Super Bowls, number 1 seed in the AFC, only lost 1 game with their starters. I know they lost 2 games overall, but still. But they played so many close games to so many bad teams. I just think at some point, that's got to bite them, right? Some point, someone's got to knock them off. And I know they beat you week 1, but I think this team can knock them off if they get them in the playoffs. Up next from Snowmobile, or Snowmobile, who's been your biggest surprise performer this year? Awesome question. I've got a couple. I talked a lot already this week about Ardarius Washington. I think coming into this season, nobody, and I mean nobody, expected him to be the reason for this turnaround. Okay? He's been phenomenal. And speaking of that defensive turnaround, I'm going to throw Zach Orr into the mix. Okay? You could go find it right now. Live on the channel after that win against the Bengals, when you gave up 43 points, I believe, if I remember correctly, I was saying Zach Orr needs to go. He's done. He's toast. And he's made the necessary adjustments to turn this team's defense around. I did not think this team could win a Super Bowl after the first 11 weeks of the season because their defense was so bad. My opinion's changed now, okay? So, Ardarius Washington, Zach Orr, I know it's a little bit of cheating. I would say those two are my top surprises. Also, you could throw in there Rashad Bateman. He's been phenomenal. Caught for over 700 yards. 9 touchdowns on the year as well. Ronnie Stanley as well. Surprising as in, like, he got through an entire year healthy, and he's been playing phenomenal for the entirety of it, okay? So you tell me, who has been your biggest surprise performance this year, okay? I'm going to flip the question back to you guys. You guys let me know in the comment section down below. Pick a player. It could be one of mine. Pick a coach if you want to, but just let me know. Next up, Andrew Tyler. Who should we re-sign this offseason? Great question, Andrew. I actually talked about this in an earlier video from this weekend. Of all those free agents, I think the two that I have my eyes on re-signing, Ronnie Stanley, Ardarius Washington. I talked about them just in last question. They've been so important to this team's success, both on the offensive line and both on the defense. Okay, we kind of came into this year saying offensive line is going to be the biggest weakness. And there's been games where they haven't been as strong, but as a whole, they've been phenomenal. I think part of that is Ronnie Stanley, and then Ardarius Washington, I can't say enough good things about him, has really turned this defense around on its head from where it was in the first 10 weeks this season to where it's been the last 7. Next up, we got a second one from my man Mike Nintendo Master. Just so many good questions from him. Saying #Ravens. If Lamar can't get a Super Bowl in the next 2 years, is it time to let him go? No, it's not, Mike. Just because someone hasn't doesn't mean they can't, okay? And I get it. He's been in the league for a long time. He's been a starter for a while as well. But still, it's the old, like, adage about statistics. Just because I flip a coin and it lands on heads, that does not change what the next coin flip will be. It's still going to be 50-50. So just because he hasn't won a Super Bowl doesn't mean he can't win a Super Bowl. And so I think, like, who else is going to give you a better shot? Genuinely. Think about quarterbacks in this league right now who have won a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes. Matthew Stafford. I'm trying to think of anybody else, Jack. Like, Brady's gone. Peyton Manning's gone. Drew Brees is gone. Allen's never won one. Burrow hasn't won one. It's like, who's going to give you a better shot than him right there? Nobody, okay? Speaking of Josh Allen, last question of the day. Coming from Josh Allen Sucks. Couldn't agree more. What's your prediction for this weekend? Awesome question. I predict classic AFC North. I predict freezing cold. I predict 25 carries from Derrick Henry. Ultimately, I predict a win, 24-20. I don't think they cover. 9.5 points, in my opinion, is kind of high, but I do think they win the football game. I think it's going to be gritty. I think it's going to be tough. I think it's just going to be classic AFC North football, and I think they come out on top. It's going to be a close one, though. I'm excited. Do it for me in the comment section down below. I just did predict the score. You heard mine, 24-20. Now it's your turn. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Really appreciate it. Again, if you haven't already, follow me on social media. You can find me at Joey Petersen 8. All that information, my social media, it's going to be in the comments and description of today's video. Also, thanks to producer Jack. It's right there. Hit me up. Alrighty, everybody. That will do it for today's show. 77 likes, 1,051 views. One of our biggest shows of the year so far. Really appreciate it, guys. This channel has been growing all season long, and it's because of you guys. It really is. Lampu, How are you going to apologize to Jack Sperry after Saturday? I'm not going to apologize. I'm going to actually be asking Jack Sperry to apologize to me. Thanks for the question, though, man. Mark, 31-21 Ravens. Who would win in a 40-yard dash, says I am Pooh, between you and Jack? Are you saying, but I think he's I think he's referring to Jack Sperry. I think because he's a Steelers fan.
Oh, it would be you.
You think so? I don't know. Jack's really tall, and I'm tall too.
But he's kind of awkward though.
He is. He's a little bit like a deer.
A little bit.
I'd put money on me.
You'll probably have better form.
I think I would too. I think it'd be close. I'll tell you that. I think I would end up winning. I think it'd be close though. But that's one. I mean, we're the two lankiest guys in the office, and it's like not even close. Would be interesting to see that one play out. But I think I'd win that one. Yaml saying Texas Longhorns will smoke OSU this Friday. Interesting, man. Interesting. All right, that is going to do it for us. Really appreciate you guys joining in. Another awesome Tuesday live show. We'll be back next Tuesday again. I'll have a video out later today on the channel. I'll have one out tomorrow, later tomorrow, rest of the week. You guys know how the story goes. And then remember, we're going live on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. Central. Come join us. Hour and a half of pregame. We're live for the entire playoff game. Promise you it's one you're not going to want to miss. For producer Jack, I'm Joey Petersen. Have a great day.